All right, welcome back to the basement where it's top level content from the lower level. I've been talking about our guest that we're going to be having for quite a while. It's somebody I look forward to. I've been watching this content for a long time. Been watching some people we worked with for a long time. Take it away, Ethan.
So thanks for having me on. I'm Ethan, otherwise known as Hunting Appalachia on TikTok. Uh, I've been doing outdoor content since 2021. I work with a few bigger content creators. I currently work with Fishing with Tate. Yeah, I travel around the United States hunting and fishing and, doing whatever I can. So stoked to be on here.
Oh, absolutely. We talked earlier. You said you're going up to Michigan here soon. You said you do a little bit of ice fishing up there.
Yeah. So actually, my girlfriend is from a little town on the west coast of Lake Michigan. And I'm up there probably about once a month at this point. I've been dating her now for 2 years and I've been up there. This will be my 23rd trip.
Holy moly.
So yeah, I'm up there quite a bit, 8 hours from where I live here in southeastern Kentucky. But I've just kind of assimilated into that culture. So I run around in Stormy Cromer hats and just ice fish and eat pierogies, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh man, I never the furthest north I've ever been is probably Cleveland, Ohio. So I've never made it up to Michigan, but
Yeah, it's worth going.
I'd love to go up there and ice fish. That's something I definitely love to do.
Oh yeah,
But this man here used to be a truck driver, so he's got to see all
yeah.
types of this place.
I've been pretty much everywhere, man. But I've never got to come up and ice fish though. I think that would be fun. I've
We
never
just
actually.
Yeah, we just got back. We were up there this first weekend or this first week of January. We went up for Tate's channel and filmed a porcupine hunt. So we went up to the Manistee National Forest and actually bow hunted for a porcupine and uh, ate it in the video. We made porky pies. So we just got back from doing that, and it was insane. It was great.
Speaking of your content here, Mr. Virginia Tech here, Hunter, he's not an outdoorsman. He's never even been fishing, wade fishing.
Man,
So I got a question for you. Because I watch, like I say, I watch a lot of your content. Tell me about them sloppy crows.
so there's actually a little bit of a scandal behind Sloppy Crow. So Sloppy Crow was kind of like my baby. It was an idea I thought of with Tate, and I was over at his house and we were trying to think of a Halloween themed video. We actually ended up going and eating at Wings and Rings. We were watching a Kentucky game, and I was like, "What if we go to a Spirit Halloween and we, buy camo and decoys at this Spirit Halloween to go crow hunting for Halloween?" He's like, "I love it. That's a great video." And I was like, "At the end, we can make sloppy crow." He's like, "Have you ever eaten crow?" I have never once consumed a crow,
Oh.
but I know these boys. I love them to death. They're some of my best friends. And so I was like, "Yeah, I have. It's great." You know, expecting to eat it with them. Well, we went out, bought our Halloween costumes. I got one of those solid black skin suits that was a size too small. So you see more of me on there than anyone wants to see. But we ended up going out crow hunting that day, and it is insanely hard to get a crow. I mean, I've hunted a few of them in my life, protecting crops and stuff. But we went out with actually, I have it right here. Went out with this call right here, this game call. It's Fox Pro. Really nice setup. It's got a crow fight you can play on it. We went out with that to like 5 different spots. We would call them in, but they would never get close enough for us to take a shot. So the video got kicked down the road. We tried filming this beginning of October. I think they managed to finally get crows towards the end of October. They went out to Kendall Gray, who's another big outdoor YouTuber. They went out to his property and managed to get some crows, but I was not there to eat the crow. So I've still never eaten sloppy crow. And they didn't know this until that Michigan trip whenever I disclosed this information to them because I felt bad.
That is hilarious. I'm glad I asked that question because I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's James, camera guy. I love James to death. If James watches this, he's one of my best friends. James was butthurt about it because he ate the crow. And I mean, I've heard since that has been disclosed, we just got back from a Tennessee trip this last week, and I've heard every time I've been with him about how upset he is that I've not eaten sloppy crow.
That's absolutely hilarious.
I mean,
We
that
got to
sounds
hear
like
about
something.
Crowgate here.
Crowgate.
Yeah. But that sounds like something I would try, man. I'm an outdoors guy, so I mean I've tried a lot of things, but I'd actually heard about the sloppy crow thing, And I mean, I feel like that's definitely something I give a shot.
They liked it. Tate said it's one of the best things, like wild game wise. He said it's one of the best things he's had. And I'd say it is because you grind it up so fine and you cook it with so much stuff, you're not going to taste the crow.
Right.
But I don't know. Watching that video, the Halloween hunt video, after they have the crow breasted out and everything, the meat has a true like green tint to it, especially when it's in the water. It looks green. I was like, man, y'all, I am sorry.
That is hilarious, though. I was explaining the video earlier where y'all went duck hunting, and I said, this man, Ethan, I said, he brought out a 16 gauge to go duck hunting.
Mm-hmm. Dude, so the beginning of that video, the video starts them showing off my Marty blasters, the purple 16 gauge shells I'm using.
Yeah.
So I called every gun store in the state of Kentucky trying to find steel shot 16 gauge shells to take duck hunting. I shoot a 16 gauge. I love a 16 gauge. It is a slept on gauge of shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nowhere in Kentucky had them. I called all these places where we were at in Dyersburg, Tennessee. And the last place I called, shout out to them, Cypress Creek Outdoors. They had like 7 boxes of them. And this was the day before the trip. And I knew we were going to be leaving late. And they closed at 7. Mm-hmm. And so it was going to be, hairy if we got out there in time. Well, we ended up having to finish edit a video and stuff before we left. So there was no way we were making it. And I called the store and I was like, hey, I will pay you over the phone. Will you leave these sitting in the ditch in front of your old store? And I'll just pick it up as I come by. And they're like, yeah, sure. And so, I do this and I'm like, I should probably get some more information. I just paid $60 for 2 boxes of shells. I should probably get some more information about where they're going to be at. So I'm not out there, looking in this ditch for 5 hours trying to find these shells. So I call him back and I'm talking to this, I can tell he's a younger guy. And I'm talking to him and he's like, yeah, I just put him in the ditch for you. And he told me where. It's like, all right. I said, this is where we're going. I have the hat on right now, Willowtail Farms. He's like, we're going here. He said, man, I live 3 minutes down the road from them. So there's a Dollar General right next to him. Meet me in the parking lot of Dollar General at 8:20 and I will be there with your shotgun shells. I was like, bet. So I told Zach, who is one of our crew members, I told him, I was like, man, this is where we got to go. And the GPS said 8:22. And I was like, step on it. We're being there at 8:20. And pulled in at 8:20. And it was this 15-year-old kid. His dad drove him. And he got out of the truck and gave him to me. And I shook his hand. And I mean, it was great. I went in the store the next day to go thank him again because that was like customer service to a T.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to lie, man. It's like, I know you're just, from Kentucky. That sounds like some true Southern West Virginia style dealings right there. It's like you get on our Facebook marketplace and look, and you're not allowed to sell guns on Facebook, but it'll be a picture of like a gun case, like discussions.
Yep. See, when I was in high school, I finished high school and everything whenever COVID was really bad. So I didn't go to high school at all my junior or senior year. I was completely, at home. Well, I got into the animal trading business. And so I had like 700 chickens. I had goats, sheep. I had every kind of animal you could basically have. And you can't sell animals on Facebook either. So what I would do is I would post like coffee pot for sale. And it would be a goat whose name was Coffee Pot. And the coffee pot was for sale. And they just wouldn't pick up on it. So I did so much wheeling and dealing. I used to sell goats to people from West Virginia, from Tennessee, just all over Facebook. And I mean, it was great.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
So what got you in? You said you was an animal scientist is what you described yourself. What got you into that?
So I was actually planning on going to Virginia Tech for college. I wanted to go.
Man.
I know. I wanted to go and study wildlife sciences. I wanted to go into wildlife biology, be a game warden. But I'm really good at taking tests. So I got a pretty good ACT score and ended up getting a full ride to a university here in southeastern Kentucky. It was too good of an offer to pass up. The only problem was they had nothing like wildlife related. And so I went into it pre-dentistry. And then I was pre-chiropractic. Then I was biology. Then I was pre-vet. And finally, I just landed on a basic animal sciences degree. And through that, it allows me to pursue a passion in wildlife. But also, I have the agriculture and livestock side of things. So I live right now on like a full, like we're going, pedal to the metal farm that's ran by college students. We've got a registered herd of Black Angus cattle. We've got 70 some horses. We've got like 60 some registered sheep, and then we got a full like commercial swine operation. So I work that a few hours a week, and do that along with, I'm finishing up college this semester. I'll be graduating in May, and also working for Tate. And then I'm also a social media manager for a few businesses in town.
Oh, awesome. So I will say,
So.
I don't like Virginia Tech, obviously, by the blue and gold. But as far as like the animal sciences and everything, they're top notch.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
only 40 minutes from our house.
Yeah.
So that's what makes the hate even worse. Is they're right there, and I got to drive 4 hours to watch West Virginia play.
Yep.
So, like, as far as like the farm animals you were talking about, did you grow up on a farm?
So where I've lived a few different places, all in southeastern Kentucky. I've always had livestock of some capacity, whether that's chickens or something. But my grandpa has a pretty big farm where I live at now, 10 minutes down the road from me. And so we always had, 17 horses. He was a very interesting man in that he would go in cycles. So when I was real young, he would run coonhounds. He had black and tan coonhounds, and we were raising coonhounds. Well, then he switched into horses, and we were raising Tennessee walking horses. Well, then he switched into beagle hounds, and we raised beagle hounds for a few years. Got tired of the beagle hounds. He got really big into registered Kiko goats. So we raised registered Kiko goats for a few years. Then he got back into beagle hounds. Then he got back into goats. Then he got back into horses, and that's how he ended his life, was back into horses. And he did that until he passed away. But, I grew up all around that, grew up hound hunting and having that kind of livestock and helping him. And then where I live at now, I live in a holler. And for people that don't know what a holler is, there's a mountain here and there's a mountain here, and I live right in the middle of it. So I had as much livestock as I could, but, I don't have a backyard. It's a cliff. So
yeah,
we understand that 100%.
Yeah.
With your hounds, your hound hunting, is it just coon hunting, or do you bear hunt with the dogs too? Is that legal there?
So I have a buddy that lives in Harlan County, and I've done a few with him. I go rabbit hunting quite a bit. That's what I grew up on, was rabbit hunting. We had some really nice beagles. We had a AKC's Tough Enough. He was our stud dog. He was a 2-time world champion dog. He was a great dog. But had black and tan coonhounds growing up, so I ran them. Hunted over fast, and now I'm getting really big into upland and waterfowl hunting too. My father-in-law raises some of the best labs I've ever seen. We use them for upland hunting and waterfowl. And then Tate actually, at the time we're recording this, yesterday, just picked up a German short-haired pointer puppy. And so I'm going to see him tomorrow morning, but we're already getting him started training, and hopefully we'll be filming videos upland hunting with him and getting him retrieving next hunting season.
That's awesome.
I will definitely be looking forward to that.
Yeah. And
I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah.
There's several places here, that you can waterfowl hunt, but that's definitely something that I would like to get into. I actually work with a guy that comes to Tennessee to waterfowl hunt. But here, I go deer hunting, bear hunting, stuff like that, even squirrel, small game, but waterfowl's not huge here. That's definitely something that seems really fun to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a whole different ball game, because like I was like you, I grew up deer hunting, a lot of turkey hunting. I love turkey hunting more than anything. But waterfowl is a whole different game. Upland was a whole different game, and I really only got into it 2 years ago when me and my girlfriend started dating. And then I got Tate into it because I was just cutting my teeth on it, and I was like, man, you got to try this out. And really, that's one of the ways that we became friends, was doing stuff like that, because we were both starting out at it at the same time, and we bonded through trying to get better at it and helping each other out along the way.
So with that, we've already touched on the fact that, I'm as green as grass whenever it comes to anything outdoors. What would you recommend to somebody brand new to outdoors and it's getting ready to get thrown into everything? What's your best advice with it?
So there's two ways to look at it. One, if you have the resources to go out with somebody that's, a little bit experienced in it, go out with them. If you have a good mentor when it comes to the outdoor field, that's the most valuable thing you can have. And if you can't find one, go to your local Hardee's early morning, like 6 a.m. There's going to be a group of old men sitting there. One of them is bound to take you under his wing. But if you don't have that ability or anything, if you are just able to go out in the woods by yourself, take a 22 with you, just go squirrel hunting. Don't go out there, with the mindset of I'm going to come back with something. Go out there with
Oh, yeah.
the mindset of I'm going to go out there and just like spend some time in the woods and get a better understanding of how everything interacts. Because when it comes to hunting, if you understand why animals behave the way they behave, then you'll be a much better hunter. When I was growing up, that was the most important thing for me. Knowing like animals tend to hang out in places where water's near, where habitat zones switch, especially up north when I'm grouse hunting in the Manistee National Forest, places where habitat zones switch and it goes from tall pine trees to an aspen grove. I will walk those all day because that's where I know the birds are. And if you can just go into that mindset of, when you're in the woods, you're getting an education, even if you don't realize it, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you feel like your education in animal sciences, do you think that's helped you as an outdoorsman?
I definitely think it has, especially dealing with like ungulates, like deer, elk, that kind of stuff. A deer and an elk behave a lot of the same ways as a cow and a sheep. They need shelter, they need food, they need water. So if you can find a place that has shelter, food, and water for them, and understand, like, throughout the day, the deer's going to bed here, then it's going to go here first, go here second. If you can understand the movements of that and the herd dynamics of that, it can help you understand it a lot better. Now, I'll say this: I didn't really get into deer hunting and stuff till I got a lot older in life because I didn't have any interest in it. I was running around chasing small game. There's a lot of guys a lot better at deer hunting than I am, but definitely through animal sciences, I've been able to further my education in it, and it's helped me as a hunter.
Yeah, I didn't get into deer hunting either until I got, later on in life, and I'm not a very successful one at that. But it's kind of like some of the videos I watched on Tate. You just go and set and set and set. But I said the last time I killed a decent sized buck was a 7 point for me. But I walked into the woods, took my coat off, opened up a Coke Zero, opened up a snack cake, and I heard something beside me, and about 20 yards from me, he was standing there looking at me. And then that was when I had no gear, just a gun, and that was it. I bought blind and stuff and haven't seen anything since.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. I mean, I put in a lot of work. Part of what I do with Tate is I plan most of the hunting trips. The only one I haven't planned since I've been with him is this duck hunting trip. He actually reached out to the guide and, set all that up. But, my favorite trip we've taken was we went to Minnesota back in October. We filmed a video. I spent 3 days hunting on the northern border. And that video took a whole lot to get there. I was planning on meeting up with my buddy Mark Carpy. Love him to death, one of my best friends. He works on wind turbines, and he was in Colorado at the time. He was supposed to fly in, and we were actually going to pick him up from the airport. His flight got canceled, so he wasn't even there that weekend. So we stayed in his house with his dog, took care of his dog for him. He wasn't even there. We also had to take care of his ostrich, Otis. Great bird.
That's old James is scared of that ostrich.
Oh, he was terrified. But we went up there and didn't really have a plan. So I was stressed out because I felt like it was on my shoulders to do it. And it ended up being one of the best trips we've ever taken. We ended up meeting up with one of my buddy Mark's buddies, Jesse, and he became a lifelong friend. Went out on a pheasant hunt, went out on a few duck hunts. It was really the first time we had a successful duck hunt up there, and it was a whole different ball game. But no, it's great. I love traveling with him and filming videos and stuff. Can't beat it.
I got you. So what got you into content creation? What sparked that?
It's really funny because I have a little brother. He's 15. And ever since he was old enough to say what he's wanted to be when he grows up, he always says, I want to be a YouTuber. Well, I am the least tech savvy person in the world, to the point where when I got to college, but when I got to college, I had to take a technology class because I was so bad at it. And for that class, one of the things I had to do was make a podcast. So I made a podcast. You cannot find it on the internet anywhere. Because it was not very good, but I called it the Acorns and Appalachia podcast. And basically I touched on Appalachian heritage and culture every single week. I talk about, why we have accents. I talk about elk being reintroduced, talk about mountain lion sightings, that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, this is kind of fun. And I just interviewed my friends and turned it in at the end of the semester. Well, back this summer, I really dove into it. I had done a few TikToks here and there, nothing, big. I think my most viewed video was a repost of a news story from southeastern Kentucky about a guy that stole a cheese grater. But nothing that I had done had been over 10,000 views. And actually, was dealing with some health stuff this summer, had to come home from work, stay with my parents for a month, and I was going crazy. And we, at my grandma's property, there's an abandoned pay lake, used to be operated. No one stocked it in 30 years. So I went to my little brother and was like, hey, do you want to come, try and film a TikTok with me? He's like, sure. And we went out to that pay lake, and it's up on my TikTok channel. Probably the worst edited TikTok I've ever done. And it was, we're fishing an abandoned pay lake to see if there's anything left. And it was like a 2-minute long video of us fishing this pay lake and putting out lines and not catching anything at all. I was like, if you want to see us try to, catch stuff out of here, like the video. That video got like 400,000 views. That like launched the Hunting Appalachia channel. And the next video I did, we caught a snapping turtle out of the pay lake. Well, that got another 400,000 views. And so I just kept, that pay lake, I kept posting videos about it. We ended up having a guy trespassing, stealing our turtles, got him on trail camera, that kind of stuff. And I just, kind of varied out. And around that time, or a little before that time, is when I had met Tate through TikTok and, had been filming videos with him. So it was really just a balance of, putting out my own stuff when I could and then filming with him. But I don't know, it's opened up a lot of cool doors for me. And I never expected to be a TikToker, but here I am.
What's funny is you're talking about that, and I don't want to sound like a fangirl, if you will, but that's when I found your channel was during the pay lakes. And then I think when I actually followed you was climbing a barn trying to get some crows in Tate's video.
Yep.
Like, okay.
Yep. No, it's crazy how much has happened, because Tate and I, this coming March will be 1 year that we have like really known each other. The first video we ever filmed, the way that we met, he was doing a TikTok live. He used to do TikTok lives like Monday through Friday. And I was never like a Tate fangirl as one would be, but I followed him. I had like I'd followed him since he was like under 100,000. So I was like, hey, this guy's from Kentucky, I'm going to support him. He was doing a live stream and James was reading the comments, and I just sent a comment. I was like, hey, where I live at, in Carter County, I was like, there is an abandoned mine that is on public land that would be awesome for you to come film a video in. And James read that, like, and told Tate, and Tate said, get that guy's contact. And so I texted him my Instagram, and as soon as they ended the live, I got like an Instagram audio call from Tate. And I was sitting around with a bunch of my buddies. I live with like 6 guys. I answered it, put it on speaker, and Tate was like, so tell me about this mine. And told it to him. He said, we'll be out there next week. We'd love to see you. So he came out. We filmed a video together. I told him, I was like, man, if you want to go turkey hunting, I got spots to take turkey hunting too. And he took me up on that. And during, filming those 2 videos, we just hit it off. And we started filming videos together, and I started going to his house and hanging out. And we became, she's one of my best friends now.
That's awesome how that works out. It really is. You said you was down close to not White Sulphur Springs. I'm sorry. New River Gorge Bridge. Was it a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, we were back early December. My girlfriend and I went down there, just, took the dogs, went for a hike, and, beautiful country.
Yeah. So a lot of people, when they say, we tell you, go to the New River Gorge Bridge in West Virginia, like it's just a bridge. And then you go there and you're like, wow, like, the whole area is just breathtaking. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
I think we froze up.
Oh, we froze up.
We're good. We're back. We're back.
We're back.
That made me panic. I was like, no. All right.
Last thing I heard was a lot of people say when you're talking about New River Gorge Bridge.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people say, like, what's so special about it? It's just a bridge until you actually go there and you're like, okay, I see it now.
Mm-hmm. We went on a hike. I don't remember what the name of the trail was, but you walked like the wall of the gorge on the left-hand side. And it was beautiful. You looked out over the New River. It was just, it was great. And my grandpa that passed away, he was a conductor for a CSX coal train. And we don't really have too much of that left in southeastern Kentucky. But something that kind of hit me hard is while we were sitting there looking out over the New River, there's train tracks that run up the New River. And a CSX train hauling coal went up those train tracks while we were sitting there. I was like, this is what I've been missing in life. So it was awesome.
This area that we live in, it was built on the coal mines and the railroad,
Mhm.
because we're just down the road from Bluefield, which is used to be huge railroad stations and everything, which they still do run there, but they've moved everything down to Roanoke, Virginia. So yeah, that's a big part of this area. That's the history of this area. But
Yeah.
we touched on it a little bit earlier. You do a lot of TikTok lives, and you know what I'm about to ask. One of your topics you like to talk about sometimes gets you a little bit of hate on there, don't it?
I love it.
So you want to touch on it?
Oh, we can touch on it as much as you want. I'm prepared.
I want to hear something about it.
So, something I've been talking about, it started off as a joke. I have a really good buddy from Florida. His name is Josh Armstrong. He, love him to death. We started talking about how bad feral cats are for the environment. And he had been dealing with some. He actually had some kill some of his chickens. That's what sparked all of this. And I started looking into it, and I was like, man, they're like really bad for the environment. And so that night I did a live stream with him that was just purely, we should hunt feral cats. And I, my live streams on TikTok, I've been doing hunting TikTok for like 3 months at that point, live streaming. They had, I've been getting like 20 viewers, 30 viewers, respectable numbers. But that first feral cat stream, I think I got 47,000 viewers over the whole stream. And it was like just constant vegans and animal rights activists coming in and trying to yell at me. But I come from a world, I, write articles for a few magazines and stuff. And so I know to be well educated and have peer reviewed sources. So I had a list pulled up and I would just be feeding them off to them. And it would always result back to, well, what if this cat was a person? How would you feel then? And so from that stream, that kind of fostered, I would include it in stuff that I did. And I became almost enemy number one to most vegans on TikTok, to the point to where now I'm considered an urban legend on there. If I am scrolling through TikTok and I pop in a vegan's live, they'll react to it. They'll say, "Oh Lord, Hunting Appalachia is in here." It's happened to me twice today as I was scrolling through. But no, it's I don't know. Feral cats are extremely bad for the environment. Resources, if you want to look into it on your own, the AmericanBirdConservancy.org. They have a full thing dedicated to feral cats through a feral cat census. Check them out. But no, we do need to do something about feral cats.
Yeah, right now, like in our area, they do a little thing where they catch them, spray and fix them, neuter them, and then send them right back on out. So it's really it stops the population part, but it doesn't stop all the other negatives that come from it.
As I tell the vegans whenever they talk about that, I say that the feral cats are not breeding our native songbirds to death. All you're doing is you're, cutting his nuts off and throwing him back out there, and he's going to live longer and kill more. But even, the population part of it, if you look at the feral cat census, the problem with trap, neuter, release programs is vegans pull up studies that say, hey, these work. But every single study is from a big city. It's from Chicago. It's from Miami. It's from New York. And they work in big cities because feral cats will form colonies. But feral cats where we live at, Appalachia and the Midwest and the Rockies, they act just like a bobcat would. They have native range. They don't form colonies. So trap, neuter, release programs aren't effective at managing them in that way. We don't really slow the population growth in rural areas. There's actually a peer-reviewed study on the American Bird Conservancy website that said that we would have to TNR 92.5% of the feral cat population in rural areas to see a decline in that population. Whereas if we did a 50% cull, we would see the same decline as a 92.5% TNR rate.
Oh, man. So I just got a little did you get the same warning? Okay. It said we're running out of time on recording time on Zoom. So I don't know. I'm learning. We're still learning.
You're good.
So I think it went really well. I was really nervous, but I thought it went really
well. It went great.
I just want to say, real quick though, I appreciate you working with us. It's been you've been hanging out with us for the last 3 hours while we've been fighting this computer, and then we was fighting ourselves the entire time and didn't even realize it.
No, man, thank you all for having me on. It's been great talking to you. I look forward to watching y'all more and seeing who all you guys interview. I'll send some guys your way that I think would be a good interview too.
Hopefully by
But,
then we'll
yeah.
get some better equipment working, and look forward to, because he's not a city slicker. He's from McDowell County. I don't know if you've heard of that place in West
Mhm.
Virginia, but he's not an outdoorsman. But our first little video we're actually going to make when it gets warmer, we're going to make him go wade fishing.
Yeah. Hey, brother, I'll be up your way sometime this spring, so I'll give you a shout and we'll go film something too.
Hey, that would be awesome. I look forward to that.
Hey, quick question before we go. Do you largemouth fish?
Oh yeah, Lord. I was on the collegiate bass fishing team and I was on my high school bass fishing team. We got first in the region and fourth in state whenever I fished in high school.
That's awesome. What's your go-to bait?
So if I was being interviewed asking what a bait that I liked was that was working in the tournament, I would always say the pink trick worm. You go to Walmart afterwards, there's not a pink trick worm on the shelf. But behind the scenes, I love a red rattle trap, especially in a little bit of muddy water. Lake Chickamauga, the best fishing day we ever had. Caught I think it was a 6-pound, 14-ounce largey, almost 7-pound fish on a red rattle trap. I've swore by him ever since.
Awesome. Yeah, I normally I'll throw some trick worms, throw some dingers, that kind of thing. But the largemouth, they don't tend to get that big around here. I mean, if you catch a 5-pounder here, you really caught something.
Yep. Now I go up to Michigan quite a bit. Like I said, we do quite a bit of perch and walleye and salmon fishing up there. But no, I've fished a little bit of largemouth, throughout the South. But I'm getting more into the fly fishing world now as I get a little older at the age of 22. So.
Oh, okay. Oh man. Shoot. So I was already in middle school by the time he was born. Hey, but again, I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna stop the recording before it messes up on us, but I appreciate it. I thank everybody for joining and watching this. Let me